today we have Luis Santos, who is the business manager for the EDU Hub in Lisbon, Portugal. Today we're going to talk about the EDU Hub and how it's become a major project in Portugal, in Lisboa, to provide an education experience for people who are coming up through the learning pipeline. How you doing, Luis?
I'm fine, Ahmad. Thank you very much for this opportunity, and it's a big pleasure to be talking with you about our innovative project.
Thank you. So here I am in Lisboa and doing my research around all of the most innovative educational and post-secondary educational enterprises that are emerging to help develop talent for Portugal. And here I am running across this very huge piece of property that's doing some amazing stuff around education, calling themselves the EDU Hub. And hence I have you here today. So can you just tell us a little bit about exactly what is the EDU Hub in Lisboa and how did it come about?
Yes, essentially EDU Hub is a result of several factors. So it's a combination essentially of our passion for education, our owners and founders. They have a big passion for education, and at the same time, it's important to give you a little bit background in terms of the business itself, in order to better understand it. So, Shitra and Roman Stern, they are a couple. She's from Singapore, he's from Switzerland. They met in London at PricewaterhouseCoopers. A couple of years later, they have discovered Portugal. They established themselves here in Portugal, and they started the entrepreneurship venture by building a group of hotels. So they started with one property back in 2010, a very niche property, specially designed for families. This was a major success. They opened a few more. And while Shitra and Roman were involved on the growth of our hospitality branch, Shitra got invited by the Portuguese government to be part of a task force to attract foreign investment for Portugal, so FDI. Yeah. She was invited for that role as part of a committee. And during that period that Shitra was traveling a lot also with the Portuguese government, they had four children at the same time, and they knew that education was something that needed some readjusted in terms of traction to real life due to the feedback that they were having from the child. And at the same time, international schools were something that was lacking in Portugal back then. So this was the combination of the two factors. Actually, the international school was the first piece of our puzzle in terms of education. And if you don't mind, Ahmad, I will start to show you. Maybe it's a good time to introduce you the presentation of the EDU Hub, and it will be easier and simple to understand the whole project. So I'll just start by sharing my screen. Here it is. All right. So essentially, EDU Hub, we see this as a planned and collaborative campus for the future of the education in the city of Lisbon. As I was telling you, this was a result of several ideas that blended in together. So the international school was the first phase of the project, and it's easier to show you a complete map. Here you have an overview of the project. So on your left side you have a green building that was already existing here. It was the former Universidade Independente, and we had a chance to buy all that area around that you can see. So these two buildings on your right side, like B and C building, for example, it's two existing buildings, and the school, the green one. So international school, we have opened it in 2020. So in the middle of the pandemic, we have started with circa 150 students back then. And 3 years later, we are now in 550 students. So this was a major growth in 2 years. And as a result of that, the B building that you see, it's about to become the consequence of the school growth. So the school will grow to building B, as you see on that image.
So is the students, are these international, is this an international school and it's attracting?
Yes.
Okay.
It's an international school with students from all over the world. We have circa 50 nationalities as we speak, 53, 54 nationalities in total. So this is really something that blends in a lot of different cultures, different ways of thinking, which is a massive USP for the school itself.
Sure.
So the school goes until K-12 and gives you the IB opportunity at the end as well, International Baccalaureate.
Great.
Building B, as I was telling you, is the school extension. And then it comes all the rest of the ideas for the campus. So the building C that you see there, so building B and building C were already existing buildings. It was a former Philips factory back in the 50s. It opened as a Philips factory for radios and televisions. It had different lives afterwards. It was also a lamp factory in the 70s. And closer to the 90s, it was also a factory who produced, they used to pack medicine to distribute all over Portugal. So we had different lives. The project itself it's a massive complex in terms of capacity. And building C in our campus, we envisage as area with capacity to host 3 big companies. Exactly.
So what is the intention? What is the future? What does it look like when it's all filled up?
All filled up, Ahmad, is essentially a connection between international school, international companies, co-living apartments on site, and shared facilities that will be common, that will have common use. A lot of attractions as well. We will have a central square with restaurants, with a lot of activities, fairs, you name it, during the day. So the idea is to blend in the maximum that we can, students with the companies in this environment and sharing the same facilities essentially.
So this is the reason why you're calling it a hub. So essentially you're bringing forth an ecosystem that really connects all the different moving parts from companies for internships to the actual learning and exhibition and all these different things. So
a strong collection, strong art orientation as well, art, culture, music as well.
So is there a particular type of learning philosophy that you're drawing from to support this huge hub? I mean, because these are a lot of different pieces being put into a hub here. Is there a philosophy that goes along with that?
Yes, we intend this to be a real world approach to lifelong learning, essentially, with innovative partnerships. It's a huge complex, as we were just talking, and also a big education ecosystem, because it will be a place where students, educators, innovators, creators can connect and interact in a shared vision of this lifelong learning that I was telling you about. We see these with obviously the school plays an important role here. Education Hub looks to offer a wide range of programs, collaborating with a range of national and international providers, reskilling and upskilling programs, gap year programs, hybrid programs of study, AI-powered courses, and self-study programs, to name a few.
That's fantastic.
And obviously, the internship and externship opportunities that we see here. And this is basically a product, Ahmad, I would say almost one-stop shop, if I'm making myself clear, because all the facilities are on site. You have access to essentially everything, we even have an opportunity, a good opportunity in my view and perspective, to have, for example, an international branch campus of a university, of a US university, for example, that could work on a hybrid type of campus community, specifically on that big building that I was showing you, Building C. So this will even add even more, I would say, knowledge to the location, and we believe that this product that we are about to launch can be totally innovative for the whole Oriental area of Lisbon. That's where we are located.
So
So
we're
the domino effect might be starting as soon as we open this and give eventually a different dimension to the whole region, not only to our location.
That's fantastic. So what this kind of reminds me of is, and it's so interesting that one of your founders is from Singapore, because they have something very similar in Singapore, and
Yes.
it's been a huge success of really being able to bring these immersive experiences in different companies and different training opportunities, and making that available to the workforce development ecosystem in Singapore. And they're also doing something very similar in Dubai with the Dubai Knowledge Park, which is very similar to that as well. So this model that you guys are creating, there is a lot of synergy around how these hubs can play a role in a region in terms of developing not only
Precisely.
innovation, but also developing that pipeline and helping brand what it means to have talent in a region, so that companies could see that and know that there's something happening there.
Yes, and I would also add that information that I was telling you initially about the 50 something nationalities that we have already here in house. So I have access to all of these as well. I think it's a perfect combination, and we have always to understand that education a little bit around the world needs to step up a bit and adjust to the times that we are living nowadays. And I think this is actually a pretty good model
Yeah,
of what
love it.
could be the near future, not only in Singapore or in Lisbon, but a little bit around the world, Europe, everywhere,
Absolutely,
essentially.
absolutely.
It's a very ambitious project, but really interesting once you start to discover it from the center of the project itself. So that's essentially what EdWeb is about. I think I could explain you in the overall what it is. We could stay here and talk for
Right.
a few days on a row, but actually only the international school by itself, it's already a big and ambitious project. We have a
So
lot of partnerships.
right now, I know the school is up and running, and when I look at your website and did my research, I also find that there are some exhibitions and some events going on there.
That's
So
why, yeah,
so
yeah.
what are you doing right now to attract the community to come into the ED? I call it the EDU Hub. I think
Yes.
the EDU Hub to bring activity there, to bring some life as this land and this platform is being developed over the next several years.
Yes, as we are now about to start to refurbish buildings B and C, those big ones that I show you, we have meanwhile, for example, and to give you an idea, we are very, I would say, connected with everything that is art, music, and culture in the overall. So between last month of October and the end of December last year, we had a big exhibition by Bordalo II, which is a major Portuguese, very talented artist that works essentially, and he do his artworks from trash. It's a trash artist. I don't know if you noticed, but the first image of my presentation was a squirrel face, and it's actually the squirrel that it's in the facade of the EdWeb.
Oh,
So
wow. Yeah.
it's an artwork that Bordalo did while he was here, having the exhibition that took to our EDU Hub circa 110 people during the 3 months.
Oh, wow.
It
Yeah.
was a big visibility to the community, uh, blending in the opportunity of the building itself still not being yet refurbished. So we use the industrial feeling of the building to create this wonderful exhibition. We had also another one at the same time from another Portuguese artist called Nature the Artist. He does a lot of work giving the impression that nowadays cell phones, nowadays equipments, day-to-day equipments will be in the near future fossils. So there was a lot of interesting ideas going on during those 3 months. And
Yeah.
most recently, we had, for example, a series of art workshops for children by a local artist and teacher, Portuguese teacher, that's essentially teaching art through different angles. For example, we had a huge Neolithical cave where she would explain the origins of the first paintings on the
Oh, wow.
wall, through Mona Lisa, through a lot of different artists, and the aim was to give total freedom to children. So essentially, they could do anything that they cannot do at home. So you would see children leaving the place totally painted from head to toe during all this learning process. So it's really innovative, something, and gives a different feel. You would enter the room and you would expect to hear a lot of noise from children, but you would hear silence and
Wow.
people.
They're
And
into it.
people,
Yeah.
yeah.
So Luis, I should actually share with you. This is music to my ears, mainly because I used to run a interactive museum in San Francisco, and so a lot of it was really based on integrating media as a way of students having learning experience using animation and storytelling, and really bringing to life issues around science and bringing the arts and all these different things together. So I love what you're doing here, because this is the way that students need to learn with all of the innovations that are available to
Yeah.
them. That the classroom itself is just simply not enough to really draw from these beautiful minds that these students have these days. So that's great.
Absolutely, Ahmad, and totally agree with you. And I would just reinforce that this is really a bit of our DNA. So it's part of it. It's part of our process. And most recently, and just to finish these events or pop-up events part, we most recently had an art festival where we invited some of our existing partners of the school, some others that we have discovered through research, several different projects all together in one big venue by doing handcraft, painting stuff, doing all the things that you can imagine, music as well, in different and individual stands, music and dance performances as well, different projects that would come and blend in perfectly. We discovered a very nice project in Lisbon called A Avó Veio Trabalhar. The translation would say Grandma Showed Up to Work. This is the name of the project, and it's essentially an association that grandmas can register themselves instead of, for example, staying at home watching television. They are all together and doing stuff, doing arts, doing all different types of art. So it's really something that we want to preserve, that will be part of EDU Hub, not only now, but in the present and in the future. So this will blend in with all the structure that I was showing you initially.
That's great. So this is a huge venture. How is the investment lining up for you? Is this a something that's mainly supported just through the owners, or are they seeking or have investments in offering different rounds? Because this is huge over a number of years.
Yeah.
How is this venture
No,
structured?
actually, this is all part of the Elegant Group. So, as a
I see.
branch, as the educational branch,
Yep.
the only slight change that we had was that in our international school part, we recently joined forces with a UK group called Duke's Education. Duke's Education is a big and renowned group of education in the UK, and it's actually the first joint venture outside of the UK. So we brought a player to our international school who really understands all the educational part, what is missing in education nowadays as well. So we are getting more knowledge and gave access to them as well. So they are parts, not the EDU Hub itself, but only in the international school.
Sure. So
I forgot to mention that the international school is certified by Microsoft as well nowadays.
okay. So also, it sounds like your focus mainly is on the secondary schools. Are you doing anything, or is there any intention of doing work around post-secondary education in terms of training and corporate training, upskilling, those things? Because there's a lot of students that I find in Lisbon, in Portugal, that have graduated but are still looking for opportunities to learn a skill. And as we know now in this economy, developing skills outside of just your regular education is becoming critical uh, uh, for people to obtain high wage opportunities there.
Yes, and to answer directly to your question, I will divide my answer in 2 or 3 points. So the initial point is to say that the school is from the crash period until K-12 IB, International Baccalaureate.
Yes.
During this process, we have on site at the school our university counselor. So it's someone who plays a role of understanding what are the biggest talents of different students and help them to decide in terms of future what would be eventually the right university or the right sector for them to be in. So this is other part of the answer. And the third part of my answer is also to tell you that all the international companies that we will have on site will play also a major role, because obviously on the initial conversations that we have with them, they are totally open to receive early internships from students from the international school. Sure. For a various numbers of reasons. Actually, companies nowadays, obviously that depends a little bit of the company profile, but they want to be part also of something. And instead of having a cold floor plate on a nice tower in the middle of an avenue, here they have the possibility to be part of the whole campus, to use the shared facilities, to have also this possibility to blend with us in all this and build this community. And for them, it's something interesting other than just doing a floor plate in a tower in the city center, for example.
That's great. Well, I want to thank you for the opportunity to learn about EDU Hub. This is an amazing major project in Lisbon, and it's very timely to everything that's not only happening with growth in Portugal, but really how we see education and learning around the world. So I want to thank you, Luis, and I do look forward on my next trip of getting out there and getting a personalized visit on your campus there.
You are more than invited, Amadi. You have my contacts already, so we would be delighted to show you the project and also get your feedback on it as well.
Fantastic.